Hello then viewers, and welcome back into Wayne's World for episode 8 of my F1 Manager 22 save with the Mercedes-Benz team. I hope I find you doing very well, and if you are new around here, consider subscribing to the channel for more regular F1 and F1 Manager content on the channel. Today we are heading to the Baku City Street Circuit in Azerbaijan for round 8 of the Formula 1 season, and last time out was another street circuit, Monaco, and things didn't go according to plan for us really. If you haven't checked out that episode, be sure to have a watch of it before coming back to finish this one, because spoiler alert, we got a podium for one of our drivers, and it was a first podium for the Mercedes team for George Russell, who was absolutely brilliant on the day. The strategy came to him well. He drove brilliantly in the wet, and third place was the least that he deserved. Lewis Hamilton came home further behind in 6th place, which is not the best, and I'm a little bit concerned about this Baku race because it is very power hungry, especially that long start finish straight. And yeah, I'm not too sure our car is going to be able to manage the power around here too much. In terms of updates then, the board confidence is high with us because we are kind of overachieving what this car is capable of. But with Mercedes-Benz, we need to be giving these drivers a construction championship winning car and a driver championship contending car at least. The Drivers' Championship currently has Charles Leclerc at the top, clear of Max Verstappen by 22 points. Carlos Sainz in 3rd place, Lewis Hamilton in P4, Sergio Perez in 5th, and George Russell closing the gap to the top 5 a little bit in P6. He does need a little bit more consistency. Teams-wise, Mercedes-Benz are in P3 comfortably. Alpine aren't giving us any trouble, but Red Bull are ahead of us by 42 points, and we need to close that gap if we do want to make any impression on the Constructors' Championship. First of all, the chassis has been complete, which is fantastic, and it's ready to be installed if we need it. We are doing very well. Monthly balance, we're doing well. We're turning over a profit at the minute. Cost cap wise, we are way within the budget here. We've got around about we've got a lot of money. We've got 82 million or so to spend so far, but we do need to save some of that for the end of the season. What we're going to do, considering we are doing so well with the money, we are going to treat ourselves a little bit, and we are going to buy a couple more upgrades. A few episodes ago, we did purchase an upgrade of the wind tunnel, which cost us quite a fair bit of money, and that will be in function in about 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks, 18 days. But what we want to do next, considering the era of cars that we're in, the suspension is one of, if not the most important part of the car this year. And because Mercedes can't really ride that car as flexibly as we'd like, we are going to upgrade the suspension simulator for $10 million. It is a big cost, but I think it will be worth it, especially considering there are going to be some regulation changes moving forward. The suspension simulator is something we are going to do, so we're going to spend that $10 million, and we're also going to look at the operation facility, and we are going to build a tour center. It will only cost about 118k, which is good, but we do want that for sponsorship for fans as well. So we're going to build that, spend a little bit of money on the tour center. But no, we're also going to do an upgrade on the team hub. So 3 upgrades to the facilities today. We've spent a lot of money, another 2.2 million. The rear wing, another 46 days away. That is going to hopefully give us a big increase to our speed, but that might be the final big upgrade that we bring onto this car, just because we need to do a lot of research on the chassis and on the side pods. We need some more engineers there. Performance targets, reach Q2, yes. Reach Q3, yes. And qualifying position as well. We want the qualifying position to be at least, because this is power hungry, I'm not sure I can guarantee top 6, so we're gonna go with 8th place there for one of our drivers. Actually no, both of our drivers should finish in the top 8, so let's do that. We'll confirm that for qualifying target. Finishing position is 2 drivers in the top 6. I don't know if we'll do that one. Qualifying position streak, 1 driver in top 8, that's fine. And finish position streak, we are going to introduce that one back as well. We completed that last time, and we can get some more sponsorship that way. I think that's everything. Let's have a look again at the warehouse. Underfloor, we've got 3 made now. So install on car 1. and install on car 2. So we've got a new underfloor on both cars. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Hopefully that gives us a little bit more power around Baku. Let's push on and start practice.
Hello from Baku, where we're looking forward to a weekend of racing among the medieval and the modern, here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Drivers will be battling it out on the streets of the Baku city circuit, a real contradiction of a track. From the long main straight, where the less drag the better, to the tight turns where downforce is a necessity. Teams are going to have to work hard to get that balance right. We're about halfway through the season now, and there's still plenty of time for everything to change. All eyes are on the teams and how they tackle the rest of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Formula One.
Right, so looking at the weather report then, everything should be quite clear. No rain in sight, which I guess is a good thing if you consider our performance at Monaco. Although in the rain previously, we have been okay. Partly cloudy, so it should be a straightforward race. Setup-wise, considering we've got new parts, the car part knowledge isn't at 100%, which is fine. We are going onto the medium compound tyre first, because I do want to keep quite a few softs for the race in case we need it. There is a potential chance of a safety car, I guess. Okay then, first setup feedback for Lewis Hamilton, and we've gone completely the wrong way on everything apart from the straight. So the rear wing angle will go up one, actually, yeah, we'll go up one more for the rear wing angle as well, because that's on good. So we will go up one more. But everything else is on bad, so that's not the best start for Lewis. We'll play around with it, try to get it much better, but 21%, that is not the best run first out. Beautiful stuff then with George Russell. Following some tweaks, we've managed to get 2 optimals and 3 greats then. So the traction, the cornering, we just need those to go down. So the tire camber can maybe go up 2 potentially. We'll do something like that. And then the toe out can go up a couple. So we'll do something like that. We're on 94%. For the setup. This is perfect for George Russell. We're going to stay on those medium tires just for a little while longer, and we'll go 15 laps this time. The practice one's done then. Not the best time wise for us, but some very good data on the setup. George Russell being close to 100% already after practice one is fantastic. Grid penalty. Who has got a grid penalty? No one. So far, I thought that was just a message to let me know. Max Verstappen tops the timesheets after practice 1. Charles Leclerc in P2 with our boys George Russell in P7, Lewis Hamilton in P8. We need to now try to up the pace a little bit to get ahead of Pierre Gasly and Valtteri Bottas and try to close that gap. Right, Lewis Hamilton then in practice 2, coming towards the end of it, we managed to get ourselves a 96%, 3 optimals and 2 greats. So the braking stability and the cornering just need a little bit. That would be probably the tire camber. So I think it would be maybe a notch each way potentially. So let's do that first with Lewis. We will add a fresh set of soft tires, and run plan, we will do a 15 lap stint again. And then George Russell, he is coming into the pits soon. He's complaining about tyre wear because we have kept him on these soft tyres for quite a while. But we will be okay. We're coming in soon as Lewis comments on his confidence in the car. So, yeah, good stuff on the setup-wise for George Russell as well. End of practice 2, then the Max Verstappen again leads the way, but we have managed to find a little bit of pace. Lewis Hamilton in P2 and George Russell in P5. So that is some positive signs. Hopefully that can be a little bit of a reflection in qualifying. Setup wise, we're going okay. 50% for Lewis, 55% for George Russell on the track acclimatization. Car parts knowledge both on 92%. We'll get that in practice 3. And then in terms of the car setup, George Russell was on 94. Lewis Hamilton, I think, was on 96 or something like that. Come on, viewers. We've got our first 100% on the driver confidence. Let's go. Lewis Hamilton with 5 optimals here at Baku. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. We don't need to change anything. That's his setup done. We are good to go. The tires, we're going to stay on the hard tires, and we're going to do the run plan of 30 laps again. We're just going to stay out now for the whole session with Lewis, and we're basically just going to get his track acclimatization all the way up. He's on 55%. By the end of this session, I certainly hope he'll be in the mid to high 80s.
There's been a crash. Sounds like a single car. Let's take a closer look. All eyes on Kevin Magnussen here.
Oh, that's a big one for Kevin Magnussen. That's a huge crash at turn 2 there. That has taken some damage this year. And Kevin Magnussen, hopefully he gets out of the car okay. That's a dangerous one. That's one of the biggest crashes I've seen. And we've got a double 100%er as we've got 5 optimals now for George Russell. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. I don't think George will have as good as track acclimatization as Lewis around here, because Lewis got his much earlier. But yeah, George Russell, fantastic stuff. What we're going to do just for the end, we're going to send him out on some soft tires and try to get a quick qualifying stint in. What we'll do is, yeah, we'll put that down to, let's just go for some flying laps. So let's go with 6 laps for, or 7 laps for George Russell. See how, or 10 laps even, sorry. Let's go for 10 laps because there's about, what, 14 minutes left on the track. Should be fine in that 14 minutes on those soft tires to get a decent run in and see how quick we can go with the optimal setup. Good stuff then from both of our guys. Max Verstappen tops the timesheets again in practice 3. That's 3 practices in a row now. He's topped the timesheets. He's definitely the man to beat this weekend. George Russell up in P5 following a few runs on the soft tyre. Lewis Hamilton done a massive stint on the hard tyre of about 31 laps. So at least we've got some good data there on the hard tyre. Setup wise, we are good to go. 100% on both drivers. Brilliant performance achieved as well for both of them. Car part knowledge on 96% for both. It's disappointing. Lewis Hamilton missed out by 2% on the track acclimatization, and George Russell on 84%. But that's because we were messing around a little bit with his setup. However, that's the first time we've got 100%, and like London buses, they've come along both at once. So let's head into qualifying. We've not really seen our true pace, but I think we're looking around about half a second to 0.7 of a second a lap slower than Max Verstappen. Hopefully I'm wrong. Let's try and finish as high as we can here in qualifying. So at the end of our first flying laps, then George Russell's up in P3 with Lewis Hamilton in P5. So not too bad. Looking at the tyres, Carlos Sainz has had a very, very bad lap. We're going to send both of our drivers out. We're going to use used softs. I don't want to use another set of new ones in case we need them a little bit later. We should be okay to get through into Q2, I reckon, as Lewis Hamilton comes out and George Russell comes out right behind. So we should have some decent spacing on the track. There's a Haas there, or is that an Alpha? There's a Haas come out right in front of George. So potentially George Russell might need to create some space. Lewis Hamilton, he's got a decent amount of track in front of him with the Alpha Tauri, I think, of Pierre Gasly just ahead of him. So we should be okay to get out of Q1. Checkered flag has come and gone then, and Lewis Hamilton coming down the back straight. He's currently on for a personal best lap time here as he has gone green and green in both sectors. Same with George Russell. Here comes Lewis Hamilton heading towards the start finish rate. Can we improve from currently P7? Yes, we can. Up to P5, 9/10 of a second off the Max Verstappen time. Damn, that Red Bull is rapid as George Russell gets a nice little slipstream from the Haas, and he crosses the line. He's only P6. Maybe it was a little bit of dirty air, but we're through Q1. That's the session done. Daniel Ricciardo, the big surprise there, out in P16. Right, so after the first runs in Q2, both of our drivers are in the bottom 5, but so is Max Verstappen. I think we've all gone out on a used set of softs, and we also encountered a little bit of traffic as well. Pierre Gasly tops the timesheets. What a surprise that is. Brilliant, brilliant lap from him. So we need to get out in some clean air, and we'll be able to set our representative time here in Q2 and hopefully make it through to Q3. We've put on some fresh soft tires now, so we should be okay to get through as Charles Leclerc comes out. So we're going to send Lewis Hamilton out, who is behind Yuki Tsunoda. There should be enough of a gap. George Russell's going to come out as well. He is behind Pierre Gasly, who seems to have some pace. So we should be okay in terms of traffic. We just need to now get the time on the board and get through to Q3. Here we go then with Lewis Hamilton around the streets of Baku, coming towards the end of Sector 1. He needs to have at least a green, a personal best, if we have any chance of not getting knocked out here in Q2. And we haven't really had the pace all weekend, but he has gone green Sector 1. George Russell, he is getting a decent tow there from Pierre Gasly. So hopefully we can get a little bit of speed from him. How is his first sector here at the end of the qualifying 2 session? George Russell, he goes green as well. Yes, he does. Lewis Hamilton coming past this castle section now is the faster part of the circuit. Sector 2 here needs to be another personal best. Again, we just need to get through to Q3 to be in with a chance at least being on the front row. It'd be nice to get a pole position this season, but the way that this car is developing, or not really developing at all, I don't see it happening, as Lewis Hamilton goes green again in sector 2. Now he's behind Charles Leclerc. No, he's behind Yuki Tsunoda, apologies, as Charles Leclerc is just about to cross the start-finish straight now, and he goes top of the timesheets. What a lap that is, 0.7 of a second faster than everyone else. Esteban Ocon, he's made it through into the top 10. Yuki Tsunoda, he's currently into the top 10, but there's a bunch of drivers behind, including Lewis Hamilton, who goes P2, 0.6 of a second off Charles Leclerc. Max Verstappen tops the timesheets now. Not surprised, he's absolutely dominating this weekend. Sergio Perez is up to P3, so Esteban Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda, they are in trouble. Here comes George Russell. He could knock out Yuki Tsunoda as Ocon is in the bottom 5. George Russell up to P7. That's not a good lap. The AlphaTauris have brought some upgrades, and that car is now rapid. We need to do our best in Q3 to out-qualify Gasly, as Tsunoda, Zhou Guanyu, Ocon, Mick Schumacher, and Lando Norris are out here in Baku. We've made it through to Q3, but just. Right, so we have sent both of our drivers out very early then, because our first run was on a used set of softs, but we're now going to try our best to time it so that we can do 2 flying laps. We didn't get it right in Monaco, but our tires seem to be getting better on the 2nd or 3rd lap, so we're going to try it here. I think we might be okay just, but I'm not sure, as George Russell now starts his first flying lap now, and Lewis Hamilton is coming down the start finish straight as well. We potentially should have enough time, I think, but actually I don't think we will. I think this might be our only time. I need to time the 2 flying laps a little bit better. I'm not good at that whatsoever, but currently Lewis Hamilton's in P5, George Russell is in P7. Again, out qualified by Pierre Gasly is George Russell, and here we go through the first sector now. How is his time? It should be a personal best because he is on some fresher tires. It's not, he's gone slower on the fresher set of tires. He's gone slower. The used softs seem to be working well around here on this Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton, has he gone faster through sector 1? Let's have a look at his time. Potentially he might go slower as well if we look at the timesheets. He has. It's both a yellow sector 1 for both of our drivers. I'm very, very concerned here that Pierre Gasly now might get the jump on us because we've gone a little bit too early and we've not been able to do our 2nd cooldown lap. Yeah, I've mistimed that again. I think you need about 6 minutes to do two fast laps, and I thought I went out maybe around about then, but I guess not, as it doesn't look like George Russell is improving whatsoever. There's no point in finishing the 2nd fast lap or the 2nd cooldown lap because we won't get to the line in time for the 2nd fast lap, and George Russell comes towards the start finish line. He's not going to improve on his time, it doesn't look like, and it seems he might be P7 or lower because Valtteri Bottas still has an opportunity. George Russell doesn't improve. Lewis Hamilton improves in sector 2, so his time might be a little bit better, but I'm not 100% sure because that 3rd sector from George Russell was also poor. We're going to call George Russell in because there's no point in finishing the lap. Lewis Hamilton does improve, but just. We're in trouble here potentially from the likes of Pierre Gasly. Where is he on the circuit? He is there. Valtteri Bottas, he is going through sector 1 now. I think we should be fine for minimum P8. But Pierre Gasly and Valtteri Bottas are on a little bit of a tear. Let's have a look. Pierre Gasly coming through the castle section, doing very well. It seems again our race is not for the win this weekend as the session is over. Lewis Hamilton currently P5, George Russell currently P7, but those may change. I have a feeling Pierre Gasly's going above Lewis Hamilton here, and Valtteri Bottas is going to knock George Russell down. Kevin Magnussen, he finishes his qualifying in P10. Charles Leclerc, he improves his time, but is only on P2. Max Verstappen has been dominant this weekend. He's absolutely controlled it from start to finish in practice, so it's not a surprise that he will be on pole position here as Pierre Gasly comes towards the start finish line. Where will he be? If he jumps Lewis Hamilton up into P5, we are in trouble, and Pierre Gasly slots in his time P6. Valtteri Bottas, where are you? You're coming towards the start finish line now. Are you going above George Russell? He's improved and he's knocked George Russell down to P8. That is a shambolic qualifying again from us, and I don't quite understand where we're going wrong with this car. It's now starting to make me bang my head against the wall, because 1 week or 2 weeks ago in Spain, 2 episodes ago in Spain, we won the race and we looked impressive. Now we're qualifying with George Russell, who just finished on the podium in Monaco, in P8.
Here we are, folks. We're back for another day of scintillating F1 action. It's race day.
We saw a reasonable push from Mercedes in qualifying, and they'll have plenty of opportunities here to achieve a great result. The work Red Bull did during qualifying was nothing short of spectacular. Now let's see if they can repeat that for today's race. And the race will be taking place under blue skies. That means the teams should be able to apply their strategies without any added complications.
Well, whatever happens, it's sure to be a tremendous race day here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Right, then here we are on race day, and yeah, I don't have much hope. If we can potentially salvage a P5 and P6, that will be good. If there's an incident up ahead or a safety car, we need to be able to strike. I don't think we've got the pace to get a podium this weekend at Baku. I don't know what is going on with this car at all. I think strategy-wise, we saw that Lewis Hamilton can make the hard tyres stick. So in order to maybe have a good race, potentially, we should go for the softer hard. We'll do that, and we'll maybe just have to save some tyres towards the end. Unless we go medium to hard and just attack it for the majority of the race. I'm not sure. Two-stop strategy is very aggressive. I don't think that is going to be the smartest. So let's go soft to hard, because maybe at the start, if everyone else is on mediums and we're on softs, we can get the jump off the start line. Let's do that with Lewis, and we're going to do the same with George Russell, just to keep it simple. And then we'll have to manage the hard tyres towards the end. But yeah, disappointing and confusing qualifying for us. Let's jump into the race, and fingers crossed we can get a podium. At Monaco, we didn't really expect a podium, and it didn't look likely, and George Russell managed to drag one out for us. Same with some of our race wins. Australia, I didn't expect to win there at all, but we need to upgrade this car a little bit more. But after the summer break, I don't really know if there's much point. I don't think we're in with a chance at the Constructors or the Drivers' Championship this year. But let's focus on Azerbaijan and try and push as high up the grid as possible.
As the sun continues to shine, it seems like nothing can dampen the mood of excitement here at the track. And here, we've got Lewis Hamilton. Not as close to the front as they might have wished for, but we know the race order can change a lot during those first few corners. And here we can see Russell. They're in the front half of the pack, so there's plenty of potential for them. Everything's been building to this. This is what you've been waiting for. It's the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
Here we go then, taking a look at the tyres. We seem to be on the soft. We're the only front runner really on the soft tyre, apart from Pierre Gasly, Bottas, ourselves. Yeah, so Lewis Hamilton started on the softs as he's being attacked round the outside by Pierre Gasly, and he's been overtaken because of a narrow line there by both Pierre Gasly and Valtteri Bottas. This has been a poor start. We're down in P7 and P8. I expected these soft tyres to be able to give us a little bit of boost off the line, and it's not. George Russell in P8 then behind Lewis Hamilton. Let's go on aggressive with both of them. We've got fresh softs up ahead. Valtteri Bottas and Pierre Gasly don't. They've got some worn softs. So yeah, we need to do some work now to get at least back in front of both Gasly and Bottas. But interesting that the 2 Red Bulls and the 2 Ferraris started on the mediums. We'll obviously be coming in before them. If we can manage our tyres, maybe we can close a little bit of the gap.
Mercedes, let's see what happened there. Now, just watch the Mercedes here.
Great driving there by Lewis Hamilton, who gets his position back from Valtteri Bottas. He's now back up into P6 and is chasing down Pierre Gasly. George Russell is now right behind Valtteri Bottas, and we need him to get the better of the Alfa Romeo man. We're still currently pushing on aggressive with our tyres, and they are fresher than the 2 drivers around us. So I'm hoping that should be enough to be able to get past them quickly. George Russell then with an easy overtake, deploying some ERS on Valtteri Bottas. Lewis Hamilton looking around the outside of Pierre Gasly as well. So George Russell up into P7, right behind Lewis Hamilton. Now both of them need to clear Gasly. Let's take a look at the replay again. DRS is open for George Russell and ERS has been deployed. It's an easy move to get past Valtteri Bottas. Next on the menu, Pierre Gasly. Lewis Hamilton then looking down the outside and then swerving to the inside of Pierre Gasly. They're side by side. We are deploying a little bit of ERS. Are we going to make the move? No, we're not. Pierre Gasly's got some straight line speed on that car, even though we've got DRS. How about this time from Lewis Hamilton's perspective? No, we still don't do it. But we're going to have some DRS again. It's brilliant defending there from Pierre Gasly. And this time we should be through. George Russell, does he follow through? No, he's just behind Pierre Gasly. We're going to go back onto neutral with the ERS with Lewis. It was brilliant there to get past Pierre Gasly, but we're going to go on neutral as well. Let's have a look at the replay again. Good driving there from Lewis to dispatch of Pierre Gasly quickly. We're going to deploy some ERS with Lewis actually to try and close up to the back of Carlos Sainz while they are on the medium compound tyres. Let's try and close that gap. George Russell, he needs to get past Pierre Gasly next, and then we can try and push up to the Ferrari. Here we go then, George Russell. DRS is open. ERS is on overtake. And here we go, looking down the inside of Pierre Gasly. Not good enough as Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race so far. Can we get past Pierre Gasly in this DRS section? We surely should do, as there's more overtake. As we look down the inside, it's an easy move with the DRS open, and it's a good job there by George Russell to get up into P6 after a poor start and a poor qualifying from both of our guys. We're now right where we need to be in P5 and P6.
Stroll hit the barriers. Coming. Safety car, safety car. Keep the delta positive.
Oh, we've got our first safety car of the save. How far can the hard tires go? 50 laps. How many laps are left in this race? How many laps are left? What lap are we on? 11. They can go 50. I don't think we need it. Let's have a look at the crash as Lance Stroll crashes at turn 1.
This was the Aston Martin.
Is he defending from the McLaren? No, he must have just been distracted. Oh, that is a massive crash.
The team are really...
And this is our first safety car this season. What is everyone going to do? I don't think we box just yet. Out in front, Max Verstappen is in the lead ahead of Charles Leclerc. Sergio Perez is in P3 and Carlos Sainz is in P4. All of these guys are going to pit a little bit later than us anyway. We're going to conserve some tyres because it's the safety car period. We're going to conserve, harvest some battery as well with both of our drivers, as well as conserve some fuel. I don't think we box just yet. Let's take a look. What is Max Verstappen going to do, as he's the first one to catch up to the safety car? I think we stay out on the softs and try to jump Carlos Sainz, because we should have a better compound of tyre to start. Is he coming into the pits? I think he might be. think he might be. No, he isn't. He stays out. So does Leclerc, as does Perez, and so does Sainz. So Hamilton in P5 stays out. George Russell in P6 stays out. Pierre Gasly, who's also on the softs, he stays out as well. Does anyone box this period? Doesn't look like it out of the runner. So we've done the right thing. It's a little bit early for hard tyres. I don't think they're going to last very much. Let's take a look at the safety car. It's our first time seeing it. Max Verstappen behind the safety car. Absolutely brilliant stuff. I've not seen a safety car this season. I've not had a DNF this season. Lance Stroll, you're the first one, unluckily, to DNF this season. Right, Lewis Hamilton is now close to catching up to the back of this safety car queue. You can see the Ferraris just up ahead. Right, safety car's coming in, so we're going to push on the fuel, we're going to attack on the tyres, and we're going to deploy some ERS. Same with Lewis Hamilton, deploy some ERS, attack, push the fuel, and attack with the tyres. Can we get the jump on these Ferraris as the safety car is now in? There you see George Russell on the inside, there's Lewis Hamilton on the left. We can hopefully gain a place here if we are lucky. We've got the better compound of tyre, even though they are kind of worn and the other guys up in front are having a right battle. Let's look from Lewis Hamilton's point of view. You can see George Russell there. We are 3 wide heading towards the corner, and Lewis Hamilton has overtaken Carlos Sainz here. It's a brilliant move, and we have jumped the Ferrari man who sticks it round the outside. Are we still there? We've squeezed him out. It's a brilliant maneuver by Lewis Hamilton. He's now P4. Absolutely fantastic jump after the safety car.
It's a race position gained for Mercedes. Let's see what happened there. Now watch this. Lewis Hamilton involved in this one.
Carlos Sainz then, the unlucky man, as they went 3 wide. Lewis Hamilton picking up the pieces and taking advantage.
Big move for them and a race position gained.
Can we pick off Charles Leclerc? As you can see, Carlos Sainz behind. Let's look at George Russell's point of view. We are still pushing and deploying the ERS. We've done what we needed to do and got a jump on one of the Ferraris here, even though we're probably pitting a little bit earlier and they still have the pace on us. It's fantastic that we've been able to do that. These soft tyres definitely worked at this stage of the race thanks to that safety car. George Russell, he has an opportunity, hopefully before the DRS kicks in a couple of laps time, to overtake Carlos Sainz as well. This is brilliant driving. Can he get around the outside of Carlos Sainz there? They go side by side. No, he's just pushed a little bit wide, but there he goes. He's through. He squeezes Carlos Sainz out, and the soft tires have given us the jump on the Ferrari, and we are up to P4 and P5. Right, we are going to try again. Coming down the straight here at Baku, DRS still hasn't been enabled yet. We're going to use our ARS and use the soft tyres to try and gain an advantage. George Russell is behind Lewis Hamilton there, and George Russell has cleared Carlos Sainz just a little bit. We need to make sure we're out of the 1 second by the time the DRS is ready, which is now. Lewis Hamilton is gaining on Charles Leclerc, and here comes the pit stop window. But we're okay maybe for another 2 laps. Can we head up to P3 with Lewis Hamilton? You can see an opportunity as Charles Leclerc is fighting with Sergio Perez, but there's DRS for Leclerc, DRS for Hamilton as well. We're looking around the outside. George Russell is coming down the inside of both of them. He is going to overtake both Lewis and George Russell. Is going to try and overtake Sergio Perez as well. The 2 Mercedes teammates are going side by side. Please do not push each other into the wall. Lewis Hamilton currently down to P5, and George Russell is muscling his way through. Who's going to stick this car in P4? This isn't really what we need, but George Russell with a brilliant overtake on his teammate, and now he's going to attack Sergio Perez as well. Through the castle section we go, and George Russell is up to P4. A brilliant move on Lewis Hamilton. I didn't really need it for the blood pressure, but for the racing, it's absolutely fantastic. Can we now both make an attack on Sergio Perez while the tyres are still working? Here we go then. Both Mercedes have DRS. Sergio Perez looks to defend as Lewis Hamilton and George Russell are both on the attack. Currently, fastest lap of the race goes to George Russell. We are flying at the minute. We've cleared Carlos Sainz by about 2 seconds. Lewis Hamilton then ready to attack where possible as well. We're going to go maybe 2 more laps, possibly 1 more lap after this, as we've still got the DRS on Sergio Perez. Can we get a move on Charles Leclerc, who doesn't have DRS? There's a slow Ferrari without DRS there. We've closed the gap very, very well. After this, we're going to go 1 more lap. I think we're going to use all of our battery pretty much to try and get past at least the Red Bull, if not the Ferrari. And since George Russell is in front of Lewis Hamilton, thanks to that brilliant overtake, he's going to come in first. Unless Lewis Hamilton can do something about it. Carlos Sainz is behind there by 1.5 seconds as there's a little bit of contact. Lewis Hamilton almost makes contact with George Russell, and now trouble in times. It means it's given Carlos Sainz the DRS. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually bring Lewis Hamilton in now, because that Carlos Sainz DRS is going to make things tricky. We're going to box in Lewis and we're going to put on the hard tires and try to undercut with everyone. Let's harvest some battery as we are coming in. We'll balance it as well, and we'll go down to standard on Lewis's tyres. That little bit of near contact between Lewis Hamilton and George Russell has really put us in a bit of a predicament as they were fighting. George Russell has no battery whatsoever. He's on neutral. The speed just isn't there without the battery. Let's go to harvest now while we are in the DRS range of Sergio Perez. That pops open. Let's try and keep within a second as Lewis Hamilton comes into the pits now for his 1 and only stop of the race. Makes it through all okay. Does anyone else come into the pits, or are we first? I think we are first of the front runners. Gasly and Bottas, who are on a similar setup to us, haven't come in yet either. Lewis Hamilton with a 2.9 second pit stop. Good for him. George Russell then still in DRS. We're harvesting a little bit of battery. We are going to go a couple more laps with George Russell, or just 1 more, because we don't want it to get below the 40% mark. Right, here we go then with George Russell. I think we should be fine to attack with some ERS down the straight on this lap with George. Right, Lewis Hamilton then, he came out in P17 as everyone around us are starting to pit. Pierre Gasly, Valtteri Bottas, Fernando Alonso, all in the pits as Lewis Hamilton now comes down the start-finish straight following his pit stop. The undercut seems to have worked okay. We're ahead clearly of the likes of Gasly and Bottas. George Russell then, he's been dropped a little bit by Sergio Perez and by Charles Leclerc, and we're coming into touch with Carlos Sainz. So we're going to box with George Russell. We're going to do the same thing that we done with Lewis Hamilton. We're going to harvest some battery and we're staying on standard with the tires. Lewis Hamilton then down in P12, but it's okay at the minute because as things stand, the likes of Daniel Ricciardo have yet to pit. Mick Schumacher though and Yuki Tsunoda have both pit, so that is interesting, but their tyres are going to be very worn. I don't think they're going to be able to do this 1 stop. Where is Lewis Hamilton? Because it'll be interesting to see if Lewis Hamilton with the undercut on his teammate works. He's coming down the start-finish straight now, and George Russell is coming out of the pits. It will be pretty close between them. Will Lewis Hamilton get the undercut on his teammate? I don't think so. I think George Russell should just be fine as he comes out. There is Lewis Hamilton coming around the first turn. George Russell comes out just ahead of him. Another accident then as Kevin Magnussen looking to make a move on the Alpine. Wow!
There's the crash.
What an impact. That's 2 crashes now for Kevin Magnussen this weekend.
From Mercedes, let's have a look. Now, just watch the Mercedes here.
George Russell then with a brilliant move past the Mercedes-Benz powered McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo.
Moving up a position. Just incredible.
Good for George Russell, who still has the fastest lap of the race then. Currently in 8th position with him. Lewis Hamilton coming up to the back of the McLaren next.
Let's take a look at the replay. Now,
Lewis Hamilton then with an easy move on Daniel Ricciardo with the DRS open. The fresher tyres, it's comfortable as you like, and he makes it on the straight. And now Lewis Hamilton is chasing his teammate George Russell. Lap 23 then, and we have got a fight in-house here as Lewis Hamilton has pulled up to the back of George Russell, as George Russell is being a little bit held up by Mick Schumacher. Mick Schumacher, who came into the pits very, very early and is on very worn, hard tyres. We need to be able to get past the Haas pretty quickly, or Lewis Hamilton's going to take advantage. We are going to deploy ERS with both of our drivers and see if we can get the move done. But Lewis Hamilton smells blood here and tries to find a position up against George Russell as well. Here comes George Russell then in the slipstream of the Haas, makes the move with the DRS opening on Mick Schumacher. Can he get the job done? Although we don't have the straight line speed. No, we can't. Down the inside though of turn 1, he is gone like the wind with the ERS deployed. Lewis Hamilton is behind then. He's going to look to make the move on Mick Schumacher next. He has ERS deployed. He's looking down the inside. George Russell, move out of the way and you can both get past the Haas here on this lap. Right, Lewis Hamilton has got past George Russell and I haven't been given a replay for it for some reason. I'm not too sure why we don't get replays for everything anymore. I'm not too sure what's happened. I was obviously fast forwarding through a little bit, but I was only on 4 times speed. But Lewis Hamilton has got past George Russell and now they've both pulled up onto the back of Yuki Tsunoda. So this should be an easy move here for Lewis to get past Yuki with the DRS. George Russell will be waiting to pounce as well, as Yuki is currently holding up Lewis Hamilton pretty nicely, and it brings George Russell into the equation. Right, Lewis Hamilton is looking at a move on Yuki Tsunoda. Down the inside, doesn't make it work. But there, he's got the DRS again. And Lewis Hamilton firmly gets by Yuki Tsunoda. Now George Russell is up next with the DRS. Can he make the move past Yuki Tsunoda, who again, like Mick Schumacher, is on some very, very worn hard tires as things stand. We can get it done. Here we've got a replay. Why don't I ever get replays when it comes to the teammates? That's disappointing. DRS is open. Easy move by Lewis Hamilton, and he's up into P5, looking to get past Yuki Tsunoda. There it is, side by side, easily done by George. We'll set the ERS back to neutral, and now we're up into P5 and P6 with both Mercedes. Out in front then, Max Verstappen leads by 8 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. It's been an absolutely dominant weekend from Max Verstappen. The fact that he hadn't won a race all season until Monaco, he started to take personally, and now he's starting to run away with a couple of these races. Charles Leclerc is in P2 and currently in a fight with Sergio Perez. Will Sergio Perez make this move on the hard tyres? Both of them came into the pits for, I reckon, their one stop. And with DRS, is he going to make it a Red Bull 1-2? Leclerc has made that Ferrari very, very wide though, and I don't think Sergio Perez is going to be able to make it past here. He doesn't. Last lap of the race then, and it's been a little bit of an uneventful second half to the race. Max Verstappen is way out in front, and we're riding along with the race leader as he's coming towards the checkered flag. Charles Leclerc, currently still in P2, managed to get rid of the advancing Sergio Perez and drop him by a little bit. That was well controlled and well driven by the Ferrari man and our championship leader, Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz is in P4. Lewis Hamilton, 19 seconds behind the Ferrari. 19 seconds behind the Ferrari. We've got so much work to do on this car, and I'm thinking, do we just start putting all energy and all emphasis into next year's car? George Russell, who done a very good job to get ahead of Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton in P6. To be fair to him, he did start in P8 after a poor qualifying session by Russell. So good for him to be able to recover up to P6 and get some good points. But Max Verstappen has been in a league of his own all weekend, dominated every single practice session, qualified on pole, and now wins the Baku Grand Prix at Azerbaijan as Lewis Hamilton complains of some overheated tyres. Charles Leclerc comes home in P2. Currently, our championship leader, Charles Leclerc, in second place, Sergio Perez in third, Carlos Sainz in fourth. Here comes Lewis Hamilton with his warm tyres. I don't think we'll get a fastest lap of the race, but we were trying since the tyre wear was still there. And Lewis Hamilton comes home in P5, so he's dropping off a little bit in the championship race, but who's really surprised considering how slow this car is? And there's George Russell coming home in P.
Thank you so much for continuing to push this year. I'm so inspired by you.
And there's George Russell coming home in P6. Really good drive from him after starting down in 8th.
Lewis Hamilton did okay here today. There's no doubt that Mercedes have a lot of potential. Now they need to figure out how to make it work for them.
Yes, there's no doubt that they have what it takes. I can't wait to see which direction they go in for the next race.
That's right, and they finished the race weekend in 3rd place in the constructor standings.
For the next round in Formula 1, the teams are travelling to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal.
Right, then that's the end of the race, and Charles Leclerc gets an extra point for the fastest lap. Good for him and for his title challenge. But Max Verstappen, what a dominant weekend by him. Looking at the driver's standing, Charles Leclerc currently in the lead, but only ahead of Max Verstappen by 14 points now. Lewis Hamilton in P4, but Sergio Perez is gaining here, and George Russell in P6. We would love for George Russell to finish ahead of Sergio Perez in the standings. It's a little bit tough. Currently, there's a 30-point gap. We might need some mechanical failures of the Red Bull potentially, or some incidents or two with Sergio Perez if George Russell is to overtake. Constructors wise, still P3. We've made no gains whatsoever. In fact, Red Bull have gained on Ferrari, and both of them have managed to run away from us a little bit. But that's going to be the end of this Baku episode. Thank you for watching. I do really appreciate you. If you are new around here, consider hitting the subscribe button as we look at the sponsors. Well done for us for hitting all of our targets. If you are new around here, hit the subscribe button for more F1 Manager 22 content. Consider liking the video if you are enjoying the content, as well as the construction of the new tour center has been built, and we'll start off with that at the beginning of the next episode. But in the meantime, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you for the next one.